Welcome, welcome, everyone. My name is Kimberli Flores. Welcome. I am the host of In Conversation, in which we bring together various organization leaders, authors, historians, artists to share their knowledge and personal perspectives and experiences as Afro-Latinos. But tonight is the first of our three-part artist series where we'll be celebrating the contributions of amazing Latino artists like our panelists today. So first, I would like to introduce the founder and executive director of the International Society of Black Latinos, Ms. Juanita Palacios Sims, and she'll share a bit about who we are and what we do at ISBL. Hi, Juanita.
Hi, Kimberly. Hello, everyone, and happy Black History Month. I can't think of a better way to begin our month than with our In Conversation series with Kimberli Flores. My name is Juanita Palacios Sims. I'm the founder and executive director of the International Society of Black Latinos. A little background on our organization. The International Society of Black Latino was an idea that came to me when I was tired of explaining why Black people speak Spanish. I pitched the idea of starting an organization to a group of my close friends and how it would be great to bring awareness of our rich heritage and diverse culture. After a year of organizing on October 10th, 2010, we launched the International Society of Black Latinos. I am so proud to say that now, 11 plus years later, the organization has grown and made up of Afro-Latinos and others who support the group's vision and mission. We have 14 board members from different countries, representing Cuba, Colombia, Panama, Mexico, Puerto Rico, Belize, US, Ethiopia, Haiti, and the Dominican Republic. Our mission is to create awareness of the existence of Afro-Latinos and the contributions our people have made and continue to make in society. Educating and uniting our community through diversity, leadership development, inclusion, and the arts is what ISBL is all about. For additional information, please check out our website at blacklatinos.org or .com, our Facebook page and Instagram. Now, without further ado, I'm so excited to present to you our In Conversation series with our lovely moderator and newest ISBL board member, Kimberli Flores. Kimberli is a multifaceted artist committed to amplifying unrepresented voices and inspiring social change. Born and raised in New York City, Kimberli began her career as a professional mambo and salsa dancer at the age of 14 years old, going on to tours internationally and performed alongside numerous legendary Latin artists, including Marc Anthony, Tito Puente, El Gran Combo, and Celia Cruz. All the while, Kimberli attended Pace University in New York City and received her bachelor's degree in business administration with a concentration in Latin American studies. I am so thrilled of the panelists that we have tonight and so thrilled to bring you Kimberli Flores.
Oh, thank you, Juanita. I put in the chat the website, www.blacklatinos.com. Please check us out and learn about some of the great upcoming events that we have going on. So I am personally thrilled and super excited to have these panelists here tonight. I wanted to kick off this three-part artist series, which we'll be doing on the first Thursday of every month, this month, next month, March 3rd, and the next following month on April 7th. So the next 3 Thursdays, including today, we'll be doing this artist series. And I wanted to kick it off with the musicians in Latin music, because I often feel like in a world of virtual and digital everything, especially our younger generations, they've missed out on experiencing live music or live music events. And for me, as a former salsera, currently also a salsera, but I used to tour for a living, and there's nothing like live music and live musicians. The power and the feeling of the congas and the timbales under your feet cannot be compared. So allow me, without further ado, to announce and introduce our panelists. I want to start with Ralphie Mergado. Ralph Mergado III, better known as Ralphie Mergado, has had music in his blood since the day he was born. He is the son of Latin music impresario Ralph Mergado, and he was literally baptized into the music scene. He gained experience in producing concerts and worked in almost every department of his father's record label, RMM Records. And in 1997, he worked on his first production, the 22nd New York Salsa Festival, starring Jose Alberto El Canario, Mark Anthony, Celia Cruz, Oscar de Leon, and many others at Madison Square Garden. Ralphie began working as a radio DJ on one of New York's most popular radio stations, quickly becoming a fan favorite. He currently has his own mixed shows Saturdays on Univision's New York station, WXNY 96.3 FM. He's also gained success in the recording studio, producing for popular artists such as Jose Alberto, El Gran Combo. And in 2007, Ralphie took over his father's business as president and CEO of Ralphie Mergado Presents, producing sold-out shows in Madison Square Garden for the likes of Victor Manuel, Mark Anthony, Romeo Santos, and he doesn't stop there. He's also started the Madison Avenue marketing firm, the RMM Group, and has become a force in the worlds of concerts, music, production, and overall business, and he shows no sign of slowing down anytime soon. So welcome, Ralph. Thank you so much for being here. It is an honor and a pleasure.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, thank you. So I'd love to introduce Mr. Bobby Allende. Bobby Allende was born and raised in New York City, and the foundation of his music career is in Afro-Cuban percussion, which started at the age of 3 under the guidance of his uncles, Angel Allende and Papito Allende, both well-respected musicians. Bobby embarked on a journey that has taken him around the world twice over. His performances with Buddy Rich on the Mike Douglas Show at age 7 and with Julio Iglesias at Madison Square Garden at age 10 helped him open the doors of opportunity to perform at Madison Square Garden with the legendary Tito Puente. He performed as a part of an opening act for Tito for some time, allowing him to refine his craft under the supervision of this legend. Bobby moved to work on tour with many other Latin artists such as Hector Lavoe, Jose Alberto El Canario, RMM All-Stars. Let me see you, Bobby. We gotta put a face to this, all these accolades. He became the musical director for Willie Colon, Mark Anthony, and La India. Bobby's expertise does not limit him to the music industry. He was on Broadway for the Broadway musical, The Cape Man, working alongside Mark Anthony. He is currently the musical director for Tito Nieves, and he works as a musical consultant to audition musicians and hire them for rehearsals for different projects. And he has over 30 years in the entertainment business. So let's see if we can get Bobby on here. If you could throw your camera on, that would be fantastic. There we go. Let's get the face. Let's get the face to the name. Thank you. I'm going to pin you up here. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So it was important for us to not just have legends in the scene, but to also have some of the most talented up and coming artists. And Toss Tones is a Grammy nominated musician, songwriter, DJ, and producer. He is the product of his Afro-Puerto Rican roots, exploring tropical music, hip hop, reggaeton, Afrobeat, jazz, and more. He categorizes his work as Afro-Latinx sci-fi music, which I can't wait to ask him more about. And he's performed for live audiences all around the world. He's worked with many Grammy and Latin Grammy winners and nominees, such as Winston y Yandel, Tego Calderon, David Sanchez, Giovanni Hidalgo, Gilberto Santa Rosa, and many others. A multi-talented artist, his capacity to both rap and sing in Spanish and English creates a bridge between North and Latin American cultures. His artistry has also led him to teach and music and dance workshops all over the world, and currently through the City of Los Angeles Department of Cultural Affairs. Toss Tone also has an LA's premier event called Flowers Rhythm. It's an Afro-Caribbean party, which I've heard so much about. I wish I got to go to it before I moved out of LA. But you can also catch him online on his Latinx podcast called Pasando DTLA. So thank you for being here, and let the conversation begin. Where are you from? I kind of mentioned it in the bios. What country do you represent? We'll start with that. And how long have you been in the business? And then if you just want to tack on to what were some of your early inspirations in music, whether it's at home or outside influences that played a role in the beginning of your careers. Feel free to.
Who want to shoot first? Ralphie, you want to shoot first?
That's you, Bobby. That's right, go ahead.
I was born and raised in Washington Heights, and my family, my parents Puerto Rican, both mother and father, and my influences were my uncles and my family because it was always in my house. So Angel and Papito Allende were my teachers, my mentors, my heroes, and then to take it even further, having working under the watchful eye of Tito Puente for many years, and that was a blessing sent directly from God for us because that man treated us like his kids, and he was very protective of us from day one till to his passing, and that'll always live in my heart. For me, he's not even dead. I mean, he'll never die in my heart, because I learned so much from the playing, from the attitude, everything possible you can learn from a musician. I learned from that giant, and that's why, with all due respect, I don't consider myself, and I don't like to be called a master because I am not in the least bit. The masters are those Tito Puente, Ray Barreto, Celia Cruz. Those are masters. Those are the people that deserve that title. And after them, I'm very sorry. It's very hard to call anyone else masters. And I say that with the most respect for all musicians that I respect out there and talent there is. But those were our creators. And basically that's basically it in a nutshell. And this year I'm coming up to 50 years in the business this year. And just blessed. I ask myself every day what I do to deserve it. And I'm just thankful and totally blessed to be surrounded by individuals like Ralph, Tostone, where I seen, and I'm not ashamed to say it, I seen Ralph, little Ralph running around the office, and his father made him kick his butt because he wanted to play football one day and get hurt and all kinds of, I seen it all. That's why we're such good friends as well, because I seen this kid grow into a successful gentleman.
That's a beautiful, beautiful segue.
Well, thank you for those beautiful words, Bobby. Let me pick up from there. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. First off, let me speak about the great Bobby Allende. Bobby, with all due respect, I think you're completely wrong. I think you are a master. Celia, Tito, Ray Barreto were the creators. What you have done in the 50 years of your career has been mastered. You are one of the few people left who have mastered the skills. So while you might not see yourself there, myself and many others do consider you a master. There might have been the creators, but you are definitely a master. So my tip my hat to you, my brother, because you've earned it. You 50 years in this business, to still be doing what you're doing at the level that you're doing it, you absolutely deserve that title and then some. So please allow me to say that. For those who don't know much about me, my name is Ralphie Mergado. Kimberli was kind enough to mention some kind words about me. Born and raised in the metropolitan New York area. My influence of music, let's see, where would that come from? No, luckily was raised into a family in the music industry. I see my sister Debbie here, along with my other sisters, Damaris, Melissa, and Chanel. We were all raised in the business. We were all raised in the music. I always tell people I knew how to dance before I knew how to walk. It was just one of those things that I was always around music from day one of my life till hopefully to my dying day, because music is, for me, my lifeline. It's my drug, it's my everything. It's what wakes me up in the morning. It's what I think about when I go to sleep. And I've been honored and blessed to have made a career in the industry and continue to keep pushing forward, doing what I love every day. And I tell people I don't work a day in my life because I get to do what I love, and that's be in the music business. So glad to be here and to help share and maybe learn some things from some great people and tell a story that hopefully will help others.
Yes, thank you so much for being here. It's such a pleasure. Thank you. And Tostones, I'd love to hear about you and your amazing background as well.
Están fritos. That's my slogan for the Tostones. I love the Tostones. But anyway, welcome once again to everyone. Thank you for joining. I am Tostones, also known as John Lee Aponte. That's my real name. And before I'm gonna have to do the same, a little bit of what Ralphie did, just a little bit, just to say that what he said was, I'm completely there with you. To me, I'm also a professional percussionist, and to me, Bobby is one of the biggest inspirations. What I would maybe put it the way what he's trying to say, I would say maybe he doesn't consider himself the master of that generation, because they were the masters of those generations, because they created all those things at that time. But they basically gave you the torch and you ran with it. So you're definitely a master of your generation, which impacted my generation, as well as the creators. So I just wanted to give you your flowers too, because tú eres el caballo. So anyway, now to talk about myself, I am born and raised in San Juan, Puerto Rico, Santurce. I consider myself part from Santurce and part from Carolina, because half of my family is from Santurce and half of my family is from Carolina. So I was always, my whole life, while I was living in Puerto Rico, I was always between Santurce and Carolina. So born and raised in Puerto Rico. And to say my inspirations, same as I think it's a privilege for us to have been impacted by our families, you know, being born and raised in a house where music was present the same way as Ralphie and Bobby. My father is a professional salsa dancer, which most of you know, Jesus Aponte. And so I grew up watching him, and he was always around. That's what I was saying earlier. I met Bobby when I was a little kid one time that we were doing, I don't remember what it was. I think it was like a salsa congress or a show when you were there with Mark, and he introduced us. So like I'm another one that seen you when I was a little kid. So I was always around that great, like, he's also blessed to have a great career. And his father, my grandfather, was also like he was a musician. He played bass, and he was, being from Puerto Rico, you know, we all have that background of music, but he was always playing congas, listening to Z93 and trying to give us the clave, like the same thing that he's doing right now. Thank God I have the privilege to have that with my son, who is fourth generation. And the same thing, he goes to him, he gives him the clave, and he gives you the conga. So I was always, those are my biggest inspirations. That's the reason why I followed my career and their steps, and basically my grandpa, because he never really got to be a professional musician, but he was always an enthusiast. But then my father took on bringing, you know, getting into the industry. And then when I come, I basically like fulfill his dreams of being a professional musician and playing with all greats that actually he looked up to. So that's how I got here, and that's how I got to grow my career with that foundation. So
beautiful. Thank you. I also need to give a very, very, very warm shout out to Jesus Aponte. He is here on the Zoom. He's been someone that's been an inspiration to me as a salsa dancer for many years. So it's an honor. And it's been so wonderful to see you grow up, even if it's virtually, and all that you've come to do within your career as well. Awesome. So I have a few questions for each of you individually. And I wanted to start with, I'll just go back around to you, Bobby. I just saw you recently on social media when you were performing with Mark Anthony for the tribute to Ruben Blades on an award show recently. And you've clearly worked with everyone under the sun. Who is one of your favorite artists that you've worked with? I know there's so many, and this must be extremely difficult.
It is a very difficult one. And like I said before, Tito Puente was one that's exceptional and class apart because he stands in a place by himself. But apart from Tito, I would say Ruben, not because of the singer he is or the musician he is, but what I learned off stage with him. So Ruben had taught me to see things from a different perspective, that one doesn't see it, you know. And I'll give you one brief example. One time we were talking, because I would always try to pick his brain. You know, we till this day, thank God, we're best of friends and things like that. But one day he told me something that when I saw it from a different way, when he says, Bobby, I don't lie. He says, you know why I don't lie? Is because if I lie, chances are I'm going to see that person I lied to again, and I'm going to have to try to remember the last lie and continue from that last lie that I told him. So chances are for me continuing that last lie is almost slim to none. He says, so that's why I don't lie, so I won't get caught out there from the last lie that I'm not going to be able to continue. So things like that was just that it made me see things from a different point of view. You know, and you know, Ruben is an intelligent individual in every aspect of the word. He's taught me how to see things and analyze situations before going into them. You know, you tell Ruben a simple thing. Ruben is a constant of whatever. Okay, I want to know this, that. What am I doing? Why am I doing it? Who am I doing it for? Who am I doing it with? You know, and things like that. You know, so for me, basically, that's one of the artists that stands out immediately for me.
That's
you
great.
know, amongst all the other ones, I learned a little bit from each. I try to take a little bit from each, and basically that's it in a nutshell.
Right. Wonderful, wonderful. Well, I'm actually going to ask a similar question to you, Ralphie. You've been around every single one of the greats, whether you've worked with them or I would love to know your stories and the things that you've seen and what you've experienced. But if you could tell me, you know, out of the artists that you work with or your experiences, what did you feel was the most memorable artistic collaboration that you've had?
So it's interesting because I find myself being the link or the gap between the older generation and the younger generation. I grew up in a household that listened to mambo, salsa, you know, what's now considered the fairly not young generation. But I grew up in a time and era where urban music was coming up, so I'm still connected there. And out of everything I've experienced, salsa, merengue, bachata, reggaeton, R&B, you know, Bob, and it's funny, I say this, I think about every artist I get, you know, I've been blessed to be around many. Bobby kind of hit it on the head with Tito Puente. If you knew Tito, he was just different. Tito, arguably, in his time, was the biggest Latin star in the world, but the most humblest man you will ever meet. I'm talking about a gentleman who would go to Japan, Europe, Africa, anywhere in the world, never saw him with one security guard. He would walk into any store, any mall, stop, talk to everybody who ever wanted to say hi to him, take a picture with every person who ever wanted to take a picture with him. He never said no to anyone. And you think about this, and you see other artists, other stars who are, in my opinion, not on the level of a Tito Puente, with a different attitude towards life and business. And I'm like, you guys have no idea. Because this man who did it all, who broke the music worldwide and did so much, had a mentality of humbleness and giving, and never, ever forgot where he came from, nor the people that helped him, including the fans that loved him to get where he was and make that. And for me, there will never, ever be anybody like Tito Puente, ever.
Amazing. I've heard this from many people now, so okay, all right. Wonderful, wonderful. Do you have any contributions to that, Tostones? I know you work with some great people too.
Yeah, I definitely have, well, I'm not gonna say the same problem because that you guys have worked with the.
You're breaking up a little bit there.
Yeah, Tostones, you're breaking up. He froze on us.
Yeah, he froze on us.
He froze on us.
Tostones, ¿qué pasó?
He's being fried. He's being fried.
Mira, pon aceite, papi, pon aceite.
I'll jump into another question and we'll circle back.
You know,
around.
I heard the intro that you played of Tostones, and I have to say that I'm not happy to say, but I haven't heard what he's been doing. But the little bit you played in the beginning is very interesting and very creative. And I
was thinking the same thing.
I like what he's doing with his attitude. He shows that he's doing things from the heart and not to please the next musician. And that's what's important. Do things from the heart, not to get, an approval from others, but because it's coming from within.
Yes, I can't wait. I think he's gonna reboot himself and come back in, but he I believe coined a term. I tried to Google it. Afro-Latinx sci-fi is the genre of music he considers himself in. So I can't wait to talk to him about that.
I personally love what I heard, and it's something different. Yeah, it caught me. It caught me right away, and it's something different. And in this day and age, we need something different.
It's hard, and I don't say it, to be conceited, but it's hard for me to get my attention. Something's got to jerk my body to get my attention, and it's very hard nowadays because so many things are repetitive. So when you hear, you go, oh, okay, I already heard. Oh, okay, but if it makes me jerk my body, I gotta take a minute, to really make it. If it moves me, I'm gonna give you my undivided. And that little piece, if that little piece moved me, it's going in the right direction, in my opinion.
Yes,
for me,
yes.
For me, I can't speak for the world, but for me personally, it's going in the right direction.
Yes, yeah. I mean, I heard a little bit about what I've heard some of his stuff, and I've known him through his father for many years, and I just love his originality. He's a totally different vibe. He doesn't fit into the crowd, and I was like, that's the person.
It's just like his father. It's just like his father.
Just like his father.
Jesus doesn't dance. Jesus soul dances. His soul dances. And there's a difference when you dance, when you dance, Ralph, when you dance from the soul, my parents, I know it because my parents were Palladium dancers. My parents danced in Palladium, so it was in my house. If you didn't know how to play an instrument or dance or sing in my house, you weren't part of the family because it was right there. You were adopted. You were adopted. That's the neighbor's child. So it was, but that's the way it was. And when I see people like Jesus, Frankie, that he said, people, and it's like they make you feel what they're doing. And that's what's important, not to just dance or show footwork or whatever have you. You got to make that audience feel what you're doing. And there's only a handful of dancers that can do that.
So it's funny you use those words, Bob, because I always tell people, I don't listen to music. I feel music. I don't listen to it. I gotta feel it with my soul. I gotta feel it. If I don't feel it, if it don't move me, it's noise to me.
Right.
I need to feel it here, and then it just brings out. And that's the one thing I love about music. Music is probably the one thing that can embark emotion, can embark memory, can embark so much stuff in your life. And we all experience it. You can hear a song that you haven't heard in 20 years, and all of a sudden it just takes you to a time and a place.
Exactly.
You remember that girl from high school who left you, and you were in the bathroom crying. It just invokes memories and emotion. And that's the beautiful part about music. Music catalogs our lives. Mm-hmm. That's what it does. It is a catalog of our lives, and it's
another language that we all speak. I mean, I listen to bachata here and there, whatever. I listen, look, and whatever. But one person that caught my eye and made me see it because she dances, the way she performs it is Desiree Godself.
Yes, I love Desiree.
That girl is special in
Agreed.
I don't even know what word to use. That woman is incredible. She caught my attention from the first day I saw her dance, and she took it elsewhere. She made it hers, and she made it something that no one else was doing.
Agreed.
And I told her that 1 trillion times already.
I love that we're talking about the dancers. And by the way, the next industry series that we have is the dance industry, because that's the industry I come from. And I love that you all have respect for the dancers, because those that are the greats that love this industry and this music have tons of respect for the musicians. And that's why it's so important that you all get your flowers, that we you know, respect you all and know about you all, because, you know, oftentimes it gets lost. Yeah.
So I will say this, and you're 100% right. Dancers do hold a certain level of respect for musicians and the music. But I will say I have to beg and plead with the new age, the newer dancers and dance schools, because I see a lot of dance schools and a lot of dancers who are coming and they love the salsa music and they love to learn, but they're not learning about the music. There's a difference between listening to music and learning about it. And one of the things I haven't seen is dance schools teaching about the music. They'll tell you what the song is.
That's right.
But they don't teach, like, and that's something that needs to be learned, because if not, we will not remember our heroes and our legends. If we don't teach and pass that on, you know, I know 20-year-old Puerto Ricans who live in the Bronx have no idea who Ray Barretto is. No idea.
Right.
And that's not their fault. That's our fault.
Nice. Yes, you're right. You're right.
It's up to us to teach them and tell them who Ray Barretto was, who Louis Ramirez was, you know, who Charlie Palmieri was.
Mm-hmm.
These are all greats who gave us something, who left legacies. But if we don't teach them, they'll never know. They'll never know.
That's right. That's right. I'm so glad you said that, because I was gonna then say, what are some of the musicians that you know, throw some names out there. I want people to leave this and go home and research and look into this stuff. And you just mentioned some great names, and I just want everyone to, you know, take note of that. Google, there's tons of videos resurfacing online. You can see the caliber and your mind will be blown. And because we don't really dance in, well, right now, nobody's really dancing in clubs that much, but even when we do, it's rarer to have a live band, but there's nothing like it. So I'm glad that you said that. I'm just
Well, you know, the problem also, Kim, is that I want to clarify something that a lot of dancers have a problem with when it comes to musicians and bands. They always complain about the fact that the band played the tunes too long or this and that. I want to clarify something. It's not that we play the tunes too long. It's just like you guys, if you hear a tune that inspires you and makes you want to dance, you get up and dance. It works the same for us. If we're playing something that we love and we're feeling it, we keep going. We keep going because it's just filling our soul. Just the same way it fills your soul to dance, it fills our soul to play. Especially if we're amongst musicians that we're gelling with.
Oh yeah.
You don't want it to stop. It's like a good dance. If you have a partner and you're flowing with that partner, you don't want that dance to stop because you're just flowing. And all I ask is that we give each other the mutual respect and not demand something that we love the same way we don't demand something that you love. You know, we can't take away something that you feel very passionate about. You know, so we just got to give that same mutual respect to each other.
That's right. I completely agree. I'm trying to get John on here. He is, if Juanita, you can make him co-host, I can take off his video. He missed all the great things that we said about him. He's gonna have to watch the recording.
Well, Bobby, to Kimberli's point, who are some artists that you would say that are not the Gran Combos or the Mark Anthonys?
You know what I would say? I think now the dancers are dancing more cha-cha-cha and stuff like that, and slower mambo tunes like that. I would say go way back, go to where it started. Now go start listening to Tito, listen to Machito, listen to Benny Moré, listen to Tito Rodriguez, those, and look at videos from the Palladium dancers so you see how they flow with the music that's being played. And then go step by step and then build all the way up to the Gilberto and to the Victor. But go back there to the Benny Moré time, to the Machito time, to the Tito Rodriguez, to the Tito Puente, the Joker, all those, right? Those were the way they played cha-cha and Son Montuno, and then you're gonna feel the pace. It's a heartbeat. That's where the heartbeat started.
I mean, my father, his all-time favorite artist was Machito. Like Machito was his favorite artist. Like, and that see, it's funny because, you know, my age when I grew up is when RMM was rocking. You know, you had Celia, Tito Puente, Tito Nieves, Canario, Mark India. But I grew up on Tito Rodriguez. I grew up on Benny Moré. I grew up on Machito, because that was, you know, my father would work all the stuff, but when he come home, that's what he listened to. That's what my parents listened to. It wasn't, you know, yeah, they listened to the new stuff, but that's what, you know, that's what they loved. So that's the stuff I grew up with. So I have this eclectic mix of, you know, 100 years of music in a very short lifespan, because I've gone through the gambit. But like for me, and one of the people I mentioned, I am such a big fan of Charlie Palmieri.
Oh my God.
Charlie, listen, ladies and gentlemen, if you've never seen Charlie Palmieri, do yourself a favor, Google it, YouTube Charlie Palmieri. You will absolutely not be disappointed.
I got to play with Charlie. Thank God I got to play with Charlie. And I got to play with Charlie when Lalo Rodriguez, Meñique was in the band, Lalo Rodriguez was in the band, and Julito Villó. Julito Villó was a guy, I don't know if you can probably Google, everybody used to criticize him because they used to say he tried to imitate Tito Rodriguez, and it wasn't the fact. It was that he had the same tone of voice and the same style. He wasn't trying to imitate Tito Rodriguez. It's just that that was his style. He was that smooth like that. But Charlie was a gem, a gem. We would play stupid games. I was 9 years old, 10 years old playing with Charlie Palmieri. We play stupid games like who can hold up their tie the longest in the air. Stupid games like that, you know, and it was things that stuck with me forever. And I tell Eddie all the time when we speak about Charlie all the time. And that was one of the, oh man, it was fun. It was fun.
There's a great video on YouTube, and if you can Google it, Charlie Palmieri, Vámonos pa'l Monte. And it looks like it was done for a TV show. And it's Charlie and Eddie. And Charlie is the one who takes the piano solo. And all you see is the joy on Eddie Palmieri's face watching his brother play.
Eddie will tell you, Charlie was a better player than I am.
Yeah.
And he'll say, he's proud. Welcome back. You're right on time to say goodbye.
Yeah, I know. I was already texting. I was like, well, should I just go? Or because I had the internet said goodbye to me, and then I fixed it, and then I was in Zoom prison because I couldn't do it.
Como dice Celia, his internet was not very good looking.
You're gonna have to rewatch this because we had some great words shared about you, but
I will
do the recording.
Sorry, everyone.
No, Celia was another one. You just said that one. Celia was another one that never walked with bodyguards. Never. I toured with Celia and Willie, and that woman was so responsible. And her and Pedrito Knight, they loved us, and it was like we finished the concert at 2 a.m. in Colombia and Cali. We had to go to Bogota the next day and leave the hotel at 6. We finished at 2, get to the hotel at 3, and 5:45 they were the first ones in the lobby, dressed, ready to go.
Yeah.
Let's go. You know, or never had to wait on them. Ever.
Amazing.
No.
Well, Debbie can vouch for that.
My sister Debbie, who's here, she worked hand in hand with Celia for years. And some of the stories, it's incredible.
That's I love it. Oh, there's so much history. You all should have your own series where you just tell stories because there's so much that we need to know.
Bobby, call me, Bobby. Bobby, call me.
That's right. Yes. I thought of it. Tostanes, let's get you in here. I would love to ask you. I am dying to. We were talking about your music, and Bobby and Ralph were talking about how intriguing what you do is, genuinely. And
thank you. That's an honor coming from you. I admire you guys so much, and your father Ralphie. Like you guys, it's an honor. Anything that you could say positive about me, it's a milestone for me. So thank you.
Yeah, well, we want to know, what is Afro-Latinx sci-fi? What is this meld of amazing sounds that you've come up with? So if you could tell us about that.
So Afro-Latinx sci-fi, the best way I can explain it is basically I have always been through a whole journey of, you know, kind of like Ralphie, like coming when you're this happens to most people that their parents are in the industry or in music or with any like artistic background. We tend to have like wider and broader minds with the artistry. So that's what happened to me going through a whole journey since I was a kid. I've been, you know, I've always played since I was a kid. Like since I was like 6, I started playing bongos at 6, and then drums. So all of that took me to go through a journey when, well, there was a time when I was metal, when I was punk, and then there's a time when I was hip hop, and I wanted just to do like all New York old school hip hop, and then I went to the conservatory and I started studying jazz. So then I wanted to go into all that history, jazz, and that's when I opened my and salsa is in my blood. I've always been a salsa lover. Like I'm a salsa child. So I, you know, mambo, and it's like I'm such a huge, you could say like a gumbo, right? Like como un asopao that like of different styles of music that in my career, when like I started doing this, like when I started wearing the hat, it was like 2-3 years ago, when I got to a point where I was kind of like in the crossroads where the people that knew me from the jazz scene are expecting me to be a jazz musician or a Latin jazz musician. And then I was actually starting to believe that because I was working with jazz greats and all the Latin music, amazing musicians. So then I was feeling a little bit like, oh, this is what you do, this is what you are. But then I was so much more. And then when I was doing with the hip hop and the reggaeton people, they didn't understand me doing all the, like, you know, real jazz and all this stuff that you know, real artistry. So I was in the crossroad, and I was getting pulled from all these different places. And then I was like, but how do I, and it was actually taking a toll on my creativity, because then I wanted to make music that my fan or this type of audience would accept from me, but then this other type of audience wouldn't necessarily. So then I was struggling with that, and then finding myself, I started doing, you know what, I should just do what was in my heart. Yeah, I love jazz and I love salsa and I love mambo, but I love reggaeton and I love hip hop and I love like other things. So then how do I tie this all up? And that's when I was like, so I just have to come up with my own sound and my own experience, right? So and then I looked at myself and I was like, what is my core as an artist, as a person, as a musician? And I was like, okay, everything is always tied to being Afro-Latino, right? And I was like, okay, Afro-Latino, because I'm a percussionist. I grew up with the tambor, and I love salsa, rumba, bomba plena. This is my heritage, my Afro folklore background. But then now in this new era with, you know, with the different terms and, you know, Latinx and then Afro-Latinx, I was like, I like the Afro-Latinx because then it sounds a little more, you know, spatial, right? It sounds more like it's out there. And then the sci-fi is because I've always been a fan of, and that's the reason why I wear the hat, because since I was a kid, I've always been a fan of like martial arts movies and anime and like video games. I grew up with this culture, right? Which is very technological, right? There's a lot of technology in it. And then when I tie it all together in the music that I was making, being not only a musician, but also a music producer and sound engineer, I was like, so then maybe I can start tying this up and like playing tambores and then using a beat machine and then DJing, you know, using electronic stuff, right? And then like keyboards and all this stuff, and which is like, that's where the sci-fi is at, like all this technology. And so like the mix of technology and my Afro-Latin heritage is what got me to say, oh, that's my style, Afro-Latinx sci-fi. I just came up with it, and I try to do that in everything that I do in my own music. I always want to have folklore in it. I'm gonna have like plena or rumba or bomba or like salsa, but then I'm gonna have some weird beats and 808s and like all this stuff that is more, you know, weird, like space sounds and stuff. So that's where I tie everything together, and that's how I came up with the name Afro-Latinx Cypher.
I love it. I love it. I actually Googled it to see, like, is this a new wave that I don't know about? No, you've basically coined the term. And I was like, I need to understand what this is. And I think it's so rare as a younger artist to try and come up with something new. Oftentimes we see people copying or not putting in the same amount of work and trying to be like, you know, who came before them. And I have such respect for you and seeing you over the years and, you know, through your father's social or through yours, you know, working with the artists and all the different changes you've taken. And that's exactly what it sounds like you've done. You've taken all that experience. And
that's why I just needed to come up with something that would release me from like the box that, because you guys know, like the more old school people, they really love what I do because I play salsa and I play rumba and I play all that stuff. But then when they see me rapping over some weird beat, they're like, what are you doing? Like, you know what I'm saying? Because they don't understand it. And I respect that. I really don't. I respect that like completely. But then it was taking a toll on my creativity. And I was like, I have to do something that is just, I'm gonna be in my own lane. And I always like to look to the future and also inspired by Afrofuturism too. Mm-hmm. Which is something that was created in the 90s. And then all of that together is what brought me here.
I love it. You kind of segued into something that I actually did want to touch on, because now this generation, you know, we have all these terms. We have Afro-Latinx, we have Afro-Latine, we have, you know, even just adding the Afro-Latino or Latina, that's newer. And, you know, the whole reason why In Conversation started was because I wanted to talk to people about how they identify and how they view themselves in society and not have others label us. And so I want to throw it to you, Bobby and Ralphie, to talk about, you know, how do you identify? Do you identify as a Latino of color? Do you identify as Afro-Latino? Do you identify as Boricua? Like, what do you identify with? And has your being of color, has that experienced your career as a musician, or has it not? Has it? So if you want to jump in on that, that'd be great.
I don't see color. I don't see color. I don't categorize because you're white, you could play better jazz, or you're black, you could play better jazz, or you're Latino, you can play better salsa or whatever. I don't see color. I see someone's soul, or I see someone's dedication. You know, that's why I said before that don't do things to try to get the approval of others. Do it because you got to approve yourself. Before you can relay your music or try to make someone understand what you're doing, you got to make yourself understand and believe that what you're doing is right. Because if not, it's not going to be believable. And what Tostones was saying before is that, remember one thing, they're always going to say no before they say yes. Just the way of the world.
You'll get 1,000 no's before you get a yes.
Yes. And don't worry about that, because let the word no be your strength. It's always been mine. To turn me down, you just made me stronger. I just go, no worries. Yes. I get it. I understand you. I respect you, but you ain't stopping me.
Yeah.
Stopping me. So I don't see color. I thank God I've been able to play in the American industry, in the Latino industry, in the jazz industry, and I've never been approached and say, well, you're Latino, why are you playing this music, or stuff like that. You know, I thank God for that. So
music unifies.
Exactly, but it's just the way I was taught. You know, it's always I don't like to give my opinion because, you know, I don't like to give, the musicians always asking me, well, what do you think about my playing? No, I can't think about your playing. You got to think about your playing. You know, I can't tell you what to do. You got to know what you're capable of or not doing. You know, so I don't like to give I don't want to discourage anyone and everything, but I will compliment you. You know, I will give you, I will applaud you and or whatever have you. But I just don't like to give my opinion. Everybody has a gift. If you're doing music, it's because you have a gift.
Ralph, what's your perspective? What's your perspective on this?
So I actually agree with Bobby, and it's something I want to say to a lot of younger people and people in business, and like I said before, ladies and gentlemen, we got to be okay with the word no. Mm-hmm. No is not a finality. It's not a final answer. No, I take no as not right now. Not
Exactly.
right now at this moment. But it's not the end all be all. And something I see in the entertainment and the music business, a lot of young people, they hear the word no and they want to give up. Ladies and gentlemen, you will hear no for the rest of your life. You will hear no. And it's funny, I tell this to people and they say, oh, but you don't understand. You know, you're the son of Ralphie Mergado, you had it easy. I will tell you this. I have been blessed being who I am, being the son of Ralphie Mergado, but it has not come without its challenges. I've had people tell me no just because I am Ralphie Mergado's son. I've had people in the industry make my life harder or hate on me because of who I am. And I don't let it get to me. My vision and my goal is far beyond anybody else's comprehension. And if you can't understand what I'm trying to do and can't get on board, I don't need you. On to the next. Keep it pushing. Because at the end of the day, I'm going to get where I know I need to be. And people need to take that mentality and not accept the no's that they hear. If you have a goal in life, whatever it is, and you know that's what's meant for you, keep pushing forward. You know, and that's the way I look at it. And it's funny because I like Bobby, I don't see color. I've been blessed to grow up in a city that it's the most biggest melting pot in the world. And I grew up with all different cultures, all different races, all different ethnicities and experience, and they all have something beautiful to offer each other. And you know, it's the only thing I could really, I can think of that comes close to relate is, for me, musically, and it's sort of what the thought I was saying is like, you know, you start doing one thing. So, you know, people know me as Ralphie Mergado's son, and I started playing Latin music. I grew up, you know, in an urban society. So I started playing urban music and R&B and hip hop. And a lot of African Americans would think I'm Black. And then they'd come to a nightclub and say, but why are you playing this Latin music? So I'm too Latin for the urban people and I'm too urban for the Latin people. And it was always, I always found this conflict, you know, when I was doing La Mega or I was doing Univision, you know, oh, he's a Latin DJ. When I was on Hot 97, oh, he's just a hip hop DJ. What? I'm everything as far as music, like Bobby. Bobby's played with Santana, the Ombas. He's not a salsa Latin percussionist. He is a percussionist. You know, and stereotypes are not just applied to ethnicity. And it's something that we as people need to see. There's a lot more that this world has to offer if we just open our eyes.
So inspiring. I love hearing that. Regardless, what I'm hearing is regardless of how you identify or what, you know, experiences you've had in your life, just believe in yourself. And
Absolutely.
100%.
Same thing. Tostones, what are your thoughts? We're of a younger generation that is very much into the label. So I would love to hear your perspective.
I love how this panel is really, I'm so honored to be with you guys for real. Like and I love how we're able to see different perspectives of, and I respect all the perspectives, but my perspective, I consider myself an Afro-Latino, and there's a reason behind it. The problem that I see when we say that I don't see color is there's a situation that's going on in the world for years and years and centuries, right? That the people of color are not seen. And that's something that, that's what I'm trying to represent as an Afro-Latino, because I can't deny my Afro heritage, especially coming from Puerto Rico, and especially you can see in my face and in my hair, right? And I live and breathe what comes from the Afro heritage, right? But then we go out there in the world with, I'm sure we all have encountered this because it's inevitable, where people don't see you. If you're someone of color, they don't really see you. I'm not saying that it always happens, because there's a lot of great people and amazing people out there that see us, but It's just a fact that where you go, I have had this situation before with people that wanted to sign me as an artist, and they were white passing Latinos, right? And they telling me, because I'm all about Afro-Latino and tambores, right? And telling me, oh, that's nice, but can you do it a little more blanquito? I've had that in my life happen before. And I've had situations where people don't see me and they want to make me something else that I'm not, you know? So that's why I have it in my brand. That's why I'm Afro-Latinx sci-fi, because I'm going to be unapologetic of who I am, because I've had this situation so many times where people are like, oh, but can you, it's too much tambores, or it's too much, it's some too African or too rumbero. Like, I've had this situation happen so many times, and not that because someone else thinks that I should do what they think, I'm not gonna change my own. So that's why I was like, you know what? I'm gonna rep it harder. So if you don't like it, that's on you. I'm not disrespecting anyone, you know, like I'm just who I am. And that's the problem. Some people feel disrespected. Some people really feel disrespected to hear like that I'm Afro-Latino and I'm proud of it. Like, and I'm like, well, why did I disrespect you? I'm not saying that your color is less or your ethnicity is less than mine. It's just who I am. And we, you know, I can't change that if I wanted to, you know, not that I want to, but then that's how I see it. That's why I consider myself an Afro-Latino, and I rep my Afro heritage to the 200%, because that's who I am. I can't change it, you know, and I don't know. I just feel that people like me are here to do, I think that's my job, to be here to make sure that people see us, you know. If you don't want to see me, that's okay. I'm not gonna make you see me, but I'm gonna make sure I'm here and that you know who I am and where I come from and my background. So that's how I see that word Afro-Latino.
Yeah. That was, thank you all for sharing your perspectives, because as I do this series, what I grapple with is, you know, the realities of everyday life, like you said, Tostones, where, you know, you may be received a certain way, and, you know, people label you, and how uncomfortable that is, especially as we're coming into ourselves, you know, young adults. And then sometimes I'm like, what if none of it matters? In the end, what if none of it matters? So I see both of your points, all of your points.
I guess that's what, and I don't want to speak for Bobby, but for me personally, I say I don't see color in that saying, is that you being Afro-Latino is absolutely beautiful, and you telling the world I'm Afro-Latino is phenomenal, and the world should get to a place where that is accepted without even question. We shouldn't have to see the difference between yourself and somebody else, because it should all be accepted.
You know,
that's the point.
On top of all that, you just can't. Unfortunately, when you were a child and your father was the reason for music in this industry, there was less ignorance and more unity. Today, there's less unity and more ignorance. So there's a difference. People are, you know, it's not, they don't go, let me give you a hand so I can lift you up. They kick you when you're down. Instead of, we can lift each other. We can bring this back to where it was, but we have to have that same mindset. Not, coño, let me knock this one down so I can make $3 more. No. Why don't you pick them up so we can all make $5 more? That's where it should be.
Absolutely. There cannot be a divisive mentality, whether it be race, economic, religion, or otherwise. We listen, and I don't want to get religious, but in my view, we are all God's children.
That's it.
Everyone.
Definitely.
There is no difference between myself and my Asian brothers, or my African brothers, or my Indian brothers.
Blue, unless your blood is blue. Yeah, well,
no. You know, like, green on occasion, fella, you know.
I love this. This is so awesome, because I do think that all of these perspectives are super valid. I think all of them need to be discussed. And I totally connect when you, Bobby, and Ralphie say, like, or Bobby, when you were saying that there was so much more love and unity. When I speak to sometimes my parents, they're like, we just all get together in Puerto Rico. You can be trigueño, you can be blanquita, you can be whatever. And so there's the heart is from that intention. And then society has a different lens. Then, you know, white supremacy can have a different lens, and, you know, external factors have a different lens. But I love that internally, the sentiment that you're bringing, I totally agree with. And I just wish that the rest of the world would get on board. So that's my Afro-Latino.
It's social.
It's family also. It's in family also, because I remember Christmas times where you had a long table like the Last Supper, but it was a patele conga line, because everybody, you did the paper, the other one did the aceite, the other one did the masa. It went down the line. But by the time it went down to the meat was all gone, because we picked out the meat and it was all gone first. But that's a lost art. It's a lost art. You know?
The problem is, unfortunately, and you know, it goes back to why I talk about us doing a better job teaching. We're losing our culture. We are all losing our culture. You know, gentrification, but it's all part of it. But slowly but surely, we are losing our culture for whatever rhyme or reason. And there's that's a whole different, deeper boat. But it is upon us, Latinos, Afro-Latinos, Black Latinos, to teach the younger generations where you come from and what that's about. We need to hold on to our roots. Be proud of who we are. Teach them, grow, evolve, but don't forget where you came from.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
And modern technology has helped us, but it's hurt us a lot also.
Oh, well.
Yes.
You know?
It's true. It's true. I mean, I'm thankful because we can do panels like this where people can log in and hear. And then I miss the club and the congas and I miss it all. I miss hearing the live music. And so my hope is that this will make people go to you, Ralph, and go to your events.
Friday night. Tomorrow night I'll be in Jersey. I got some salsa music on deck.
That's it. We need to get back out. Right.
Yeah, Bobby's gonna be playing at Radio City Music Hall in La India in a few weeks. So I mean, next week.
Next week.
So you know, it's out there. You just gotta look for it. It's out there.
Yes, that's right.
When are you coming to Los Angeles? When are y'all coming to LA?
I'll be in LA in June.
All right, that's the
okay. We're looking for you.
Juanita, I'll be out there as soon as you book the flight, baby.
Yes.
This has been such an honor and a blessing to have you all together. I am so thankful to you, Ralph, to you, Bobby, to you, Tostones. I have tons of respect for each of you. I think the work that you do is amazing. I'm so glad this audience got to meet you all. You all need to know the musicians. We all need to know, follow, research, learn about, go listen to, go to the live performances and go support. You can follow Ralphie Mergado, Bobby Allende, and Tostones on Instagram. They all have websites. You can follow them all and check out what they're doing. And thank you all so much. Thank you. Thank you.
And Kimberli, thank you so much for great job moderating. And Juanita, thank you for having us. And on my behalf, it's a pleasure to be here. Pleasure to be on this panel along with Bobby and Tostones. You know, Bobby is a dear friend for many years who I look up to, and Tostones is a young gentleman I just met. But man, what a bright future he has. So thank you, everyone.
What you're doing.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
In Conversation with Kimberli Flores will be next month, Thursday, the first Thursday of the month, and we'll be talking about the dance industry, which we kind of touched on here. So please tune in, leave your email in the chat if you'd like for us to stay connected with you, and come back again next time and join the conversation.